What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I am joined once again by the triple OG, not one, not two, but three, Mr. Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. Joey, my man, what's happening, bro?
Not much, man. Just chilling here on a Thursday night, looking over this slate going into tomorrow. I got a big 14-game slate, and I am also preparing for my first night alone with all three children tomorrow night. It's going to be an interesting night.
It's going down. It is going down in the Baldino household. Bro, if it's anything like the videos I get of your kids, like it's gonna be this party central over there, bro. Like we're gonna have like people pushing. You're gonna have babies pushing chairs. We're gonna have some like house music going. Some little house head babies just nodding, dancing away, and it sounds like a good time, man. I'm sure it'll be stressful at times, but overall, it sounds like it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, I mean, and the scary thing about it is that my daughter's going to be probably the one that's dancing on the ceiling. You know what I mean? She's the party one. She's the party one that scares me out of all three of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's really just an unfortunate incident. Oh, she is just going to be a problem. I can already tell. You know.
Hey man, that's how
because she already has me wrapped around her finger. So that's the point. You know.
Of course, and that'll always be the case. So. Yep, you're in for it, bro. That's the thing, man. Like whenever like people I know, whenever they have a daughter, I'm just like, oh man. Like I'm like, it's precious, it's beautiful, but I just know I'm like, you're screwed, man. Cause like I just like I don't know, just it's very very tough to like not like just forgive. Like how do you discipline as a man? How do you discipline your daughter? It's got to be the most difficult thing in the world to do. Like I don't mean like what do you do? I mean like. To have the heart to do it, like you know what I'm saying, like it's like wildness, man. Meanwhile,
the hard part is like most of the time I just laugh all the time when I'm mad at them. I'm still laughing because I don't know how else to deal with it. So it's funny. I laugh. It's hard for me to discipline them because I'm laughing.
What else can you do? What else? And obviously you're obviously a guy with to put it in a basic way, big sense of humor, I guess, right? So. Yeah, I can only imagine. Meanwhile, I'm over here going to fairs trying to like throw baseballs without stretching, win prizes, and I'm pulling ligaments. I mean, you already know, bro. I'm 2 shoulder surgeries in on the same shoulder. I got all kinds of scar tissue, torn ligaments, torn tendons in my elbows, and I'm sitting here picking up baseballs, throwing them all willy nilly, acting like I'm still 20 years old. And I'm hurt, man. I'm paying for it, bro. I'm paying for it. It's just. Oh my gosh, man. Just feeling old as hell. That's what I'm feeling right now.
And you're not even close to 40 yet, CK.
No, I'll be 31 in August next month.
I'm closer to 50 than you are to 40, okay? So
I'm falling apart, right, bro.
So hopefully you feel as good as I feel.
I already told you, man. All right. Like I told you, the old mentality is kicking into me, man. I told you, I normally go to the gym on Fridays, and I already said I'm so sore and banged up. I'm going fishing tomorrow morning. I'm not. I can't. Mm-hmm. I can't. I don't got it.
I hear you. I hear you.
Anyways, man, one thing that you can never be too old for is some DFS action. And we have ourselves a 14-game slate following this weird-ass 6-game slate that we had tonight. We got a little bit of everything. We got some offense. We got some pitchers we'd love to attack. We've got pitchers at every tier that I think are interesting from a perspective of actually trying to pitch. There's a lot going on, so I'm very curious to hear what your initial thoughts are as we go through this first look. Cash games, Joey, as we always do. Who's the guy that stands out to you right now?
Boy, I think right now I'm looking at Zach Greinke at 10-2 on FanDuel. He's facing the Marlins, and I think we're kind of getting back to teams that we want to pick on. So to me, it's either Zach Greinke at 10-5, and then the guy that I'd be looking at also a little bit lower at an SP1 option is Pineda at 8-8 against the White Sox. They're just been really bad, and Pineda has through at the White Sox earlier last month, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, put up a 49. So on On FanDuel, he is 8-8, and on DK, he is right around the same price. So you could lock him in at as your SP1 if you wanted to. The guys in that range, Lance Lynn against Oakland would be another option that I would probably just have to dig into more. But he always just seems to be more of a GPP kind of pitcher. And then Ryu at 11-2 at the top of the slate. I think he's fine. I just don't see much of a ceiling game against the Nationals, who I haven't checked the weather yet, but I can imagine it's going to be pretty humid in Washington, and the ball was flying out of there today with Scherzer. So Ryu, I could see him just giving up a few more runs than normal. So to me, it's Pineda or Greinke.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Greinke makes a lot of sense. It is Miami. They've been striking out a ton specifically lately. On top of that, this is somewhat of a homecoming. Greinke is not from Miami, but he is from the state of Florida. Cash and DFS used to, I think he went to high school with him or knew him in high school, something like that. So I'm with you, man. Great park for pitching. Greinke back in Florida. Miami has been literally the best offense to attack. Ronaldo Lopez went out there and struck out like 10 of these dudes in 8 innings or something like that. So he makes sense. Pineda, I don't mind either. I think I feel a little bit more comfortable with Greinke just for the opponent factor in the park. Pineda does have a shitty park, but Pineda's been on, and the White Sox have been just as bad. Like, literally, those two teams have been the nut worst and the best to attack with pitchers. So I'm fine with it. I probably would feel more comfortable with Greinke myself. Talk to me about SP2s for the DraftKings players.
To me, honestly, there's one guy. To me, it's Urquidy. What he's min price. I mean, talk me off of this guy. He's min price. He's going up against the Cardinals, who, yes, they were hot, but they're still the Cardinals, and he shouldn't be 5,000. That's just such a misprice, in my opinion.
So
he had 34 points last time.
I was just gonna say the last time Urquidy pitched, he was like 40% owned, and he dominated. I think it was against the Rangers, I want to say. The Cardinals, like you said, they finally seem to have woken up. They're putting up a lot of runs over these last few games. That series against the Pirates, they kind of did go off. Goldie's been red hot. We've been waiting for it all year. So in tournaments, I think that the Cardinals will be interesting leverage because I expect Urquidy to be popular yet again. And in cash games, Joe, I'm with you. I think that we're going to see a lot of people go that route. They did it last time against the Rangers. I don't see why they wouldn't do it against the Cardinals, who are pretty right-handed in general. And he, like you said, he's still 5K. On top of that, he's got the Houston offense behind him, which is always going to be a plus factor when it comes to like potentially getting the win, run support, all that good stuff. So I'm with you, man. I got no argument. I think Urquidy does make a lot of sense. He'll allow you to get the studs you want in cash, Greinke, and then some hitters. So I don't have an argument, bro. I'm with you. Let's talk about tournaments, though. And go back to SP1s. Do any of these other guys kind of stand out to you from a tournament perspective?
I definitely like Lance Lynn. I think he's real interesting against the Rangers. Lance Lynn has been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. So you can say what you want. He's been pretty damn good. So he's definitely a decent option tomorrow. Against the A's, a good ballpark. I'd also like to maybe look into Soroka a little bit more, but that would be the only other guys up top. Ryu, I just don't see the ceiling game that you would need to win a tournament, especially at 11-2. So as an SP1, that'd be the only other guys. That'd be who I'd look at. What do you think? Did I lose you?
No, my bad. I was muted. I completely agree with you. We talked about Pineda. Yeah. He'd be a pivot, I think, in tournaments off Greinke, but Greinke still looks pretty good to me, even in tournaments. So I'd be liable to probably stick with him. I agree with you on Ryan. I mean, Lynn is worth a flyer just because I don't like to pick on Oakland, but this is a huge park boost for a guy like him, and he has been awesome this year. And the A's are pretty heavily right-handed, which goes in his favor. And then I think that, like you said about Ryu, I'm worried about the ceiling. The Nationals really don't strike out a ton against lefties. They strike out a lot against righties. Against lefties, not so much. And so just from that perspective alone, I'm hesitant to pay all the way up top for him, although I do think his ownership may be somewhat low. But still, I think Greinke and Pineda are still kind of standing out the most. There's guys that got Wheeler, who there's been talks of the Mets maybe are going to trade one of him or Syndergaard and try to sign the other one. Who knows? But Wheeler is sort of auditioning for either one. He's coming off an injury with a fatigued shoulder, and he's going against a Pirates team that doesn't really strike out. So I'm just looking at all these other guys, and there's so many flaws. I think I'm with you. I think it's like Greinke, Pineda, maybe Lance Lynn. What about the SB2 roles? Anybody else aside from like Urquidy that stand out?
I think he's a little bit more attractive to me on FanDuel because he's cheaper, but Griffin Canning at 6'6", going up against the Orioles, to me, he's the one guy that kind of sticks out of all of them that I would feel confident throwing in there if I'm going down low. Like if I'm gonna pay down tomorrow on FanDuel, that's who I'm going to. I'm gonna go to Canning. It's just more of I'm thinking he's gonna get a QS, a win. Baltimore bad bullpen, so you think that Angels are going to win. They're going to hit the ball pretty well. They might be even pretty popular, and Baltimore is a team that we can pick on. So that's who I'm sort of looking at. I think down below, maybe Daniel Mangden. He's been somewhat of up and down, but I'd have to look into him. But there's nobody else really that kind of like attracts me.
It's tough, dude.
Looking at
it is tough. Like I think like Lucchesi is 7.7. He's like that's cheap for him, but it's kind of expensive to pair with in tournaments anyway with like a Greinke or something. I think he's an option, but it's also like we got to look into the Giants, see what lineup they put out. But I think Lucchesi is kind of interesting. I think some people may even look at Kikuchi. I'm with you on Canning. This seems like a much better matchup for what he's seen lately. We know he's got some strikeout upside, good park. There's a few different guys.
I got a guy.
Who's that? Who you got?
I got a guy. Asher Wojciechowski.
Is he's pitching today?
He just came off of. He's pitching. Yeah, he's pitching against the Angels tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coming off of 7 1/3 innings, 10 strikeouts against the Red Sox.
Yeah, he was pretty nasty. He's got good stuff overall. He can get hit, but he's got good strikeout stuff. He really does. Like he's capable of that. He's got that skill. And nobody's playing him against the Angels, I can tell you that. The one thing that I'm hesitant is the Angels don't strike out, but neither do the Red Sox, supposedly, and he was able to make that happen then. So I can't fully exit out. We have a lot of pitching options to pick from, and that's what happens when you have like a massive 14-game slate like this. You got a little bit of everything. But yeah,
I have one last question. Who do you have starting for the Rays tomorrow? I'm seeing McKay on FanDuel, but I wrote down some other guy.
Yeah,
do they have an opener?
I think Diego Castillo is who I see right now.
Yeah,
right as a potential opener.
And
it looks like Yarbrough is going tomorrow, so maybe they moved McKay back. I'm seeing Yarbrough.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Like as
they
long
option him down to AAA, but why they have him? That's weird.
Into April. Who, McKay?
Yeah.
I think they sent McKay
I don't know why
down.
FanDuel had McKay.
Well, I think he was due in the rotation, but you're right. They sent him down. Mm-hmm. So I think we're actually going to see Yarbrough, which is kind of interesting against Toronto. Yarbrough has been his last 2 appearances. He's actually really, really good. Went 6 innings in both. 27 against the Baltimore, 22 against the White Sox. Granted, those are like not matchups, but Toronto is sort of like they have more power and potential to go off, but they also have a lot of strikeout potential. So, yeah, there's a lot to pick from. With that said, Joe, let's get into some of these bats here. What stacks stand out to you right now?
Let's see here. I'm just calling up my offenses real quick. Mm-hmm. I think you got to look at the Yankees, Red Sox right off the bat. That's who I would kind of lean towards just from the start. They didn't disappoint today. And tomorrow you have Paxton and Cashner. And boy, oh boy, like Yankees are mad after getting crushed today. Mm-hmm. So I could see that being one game. Paxton has not been very good at all. So I like them. That game right there is really attractive right off the bat. The Twins against Dylan Cease, you got to look at. They're going to be hot. I think the Rays versus the Blue Jays is somebody I'm going to like. And then the Braves versus Arrieta and the Phillies.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the Dodgers, but I could just see Anibal Sanchez just trolling them. Dodgers should have done much better the last few games, and they didn't. So there's something up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The Dodgers definitely been disappointing, just ruining me. Going to the Yankee-Red Sox game, that definitely is the highlight game, I think. These teams have a history of having those high-scoring games. The Yankee bullpen has been awful lately, dude. Minnesota just tore them up. Boston today tore them up. You mentioned Paxton. Last time we saw Paxton, he got his nipples twisted by the Colorado Rockies. On the flip side of this game, Andrew Cashner, since getting to Boston, has been horrible. So I think that this is a really awesome place to start. These guys are obviously pretty expensive, so we're going to have to look at those Urquidy-type plays and maybe try to do a double spend down if we want to come here. But I agree. This is the game that kind of stands out the most amongst the rest.
Let me hit you with something, CK, like Pineda and Urquidy. And you can get that game. You know what I'm saying?
You can try to get that game. You might have to play
or
some of the
one side.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. You might have to play one or two dudes that you wouldn't normally play, maybe. But yeah, I think you can make that work. And if not, we did talk about guys like Joey Lucchesi, some of those cheaper dudes that you could just try. Griffin Canning, right? Like just to just go to war that way. But I'm with you that they definitely stand out. The Braves against Arrieta is interesting. Arrieta's been pretty bad for the most part lately, especially against lefties. But the Braves have also been kind of cold. Maybe the change of scenery going to Philly will help, division rival kind of thing. And Philly's bullpen has been absolutely awful to lefties. So, again, just a lot of different ways you can go. I think Tampa's kind of interesting on the road. Park boost out in Toronto against Jacob Wausapak in the Toronto bullpen, which is really the juice of it. And the last team that I'll mention, we can go on and on. But a team you already mentioned is the Twins. How do we not play the Twins? They've just been red hot starting in the Yankees series. They lead the league in home runs. It's all kind of coming together. It's all kind of carrying over. Implied for 5.7 runs. Big ballpark boost in Chicago, small White Sox park. And against Dylan Cease in a bad White Sox bullpen, I mean, I'm with you, man. Like, those are the offenses. And like, listen, there's tons of other offenses we can discuss. But those, to me, are the ones that kind of stand out the most. I would agree with that. Okay.
Dude, the Angels and the Mariners, too. I mean, nobody's going to play the Mariners tomorrow. They're going to go so under the radar against Norris. It's going to be one of the last games of the night.
Mm-hmm. No, I do agree.
I like them.
I
can see it.
It's just a matter of like how many teams we're gonna have. Like, can we reach all these places? But I completely agree.
Well, I'll tell you what, CK. It comes to a point of when you're building lineups on FanDuel. I've been successful the past week or two by paying down and just doing 2 full stacks. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the prices of the Mariners on FanDuel tomorrow. I mean, look what they got. They got Vogelbach's 3.8. Everybody else is pretty damn cheap. So you're gonna, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's how you kind of work it, you know? So I feel like a team becomes popular because of their pricing more than maybe even the play.
Oh, yeah. So, well, you know what it is? A lot of other people don't feel comfortable paying down for pitching. Like, they think they have to spend majority of their money on a pitcher because they don't trust these guys. Like, they trust Greinke. They trust some of these other names and matchups. Not a lot of guys are going to look at like a Griffin Canning and feel comfortable clicking his name over a Zach Greinke or something like that. So, you know, a lot of times on FanDuel, just by paying down, you end up contrarian no matter what you do because it's going to change your build up and you're going to have just a totally different build. So I'm with it. I think what it comes down to when you're comparing these teams, like the Twins, the Red Sox, Yankees, to a team like Seattle, it comes down to like where you're comfortable with pitching. If you don't want to sacrifice pitching, then you need teams like Seattle. You're going to need that. If not, then go nuts. Use Seattle as like a team to get you those bats. Like, work in some Seattle players so that you can get Mookie Betts and Devers and JD and all those guys and some Yankees or Twins or whatever. But it's going to be fun building teams. It's going to be hard to narrow it down unless you have a ton. But it'll be fun. All right. That's going to do it for the breakdown. Definitely a large slate. At this point, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't checked us out at wisestake.com, make sure you get over there. We are still running the free week promotion. If you are new to wisestake.com, you sign up for the All Sports monthly package. You will have 7 days to try it out without being charged. If you cancel within those 7 days, you will never be charged. If you like what you see, which I think you will, and you see that we really work hard for our members, our community, and not just us, our members even work hard, man. You get into that Slack chat, which you do get access to the Slack chat with this promotion, and you can learn a lot from those guys as well. They've been in there grinding every single day, giving each other advice and reviewing each other's lineups and just kind of tossing ideas around. But all in all, come check us out. You get access to all of our content for all of our sports. You'll also get access to our Slack chat. You get 1 week free. Again, if you're not interested, you have to cancel before the 7 days are up. Once you're charged, that's it. You're a member for a month, and it's probably the best decision you would have made anyway. So check us out at wisec.com. Joey, it is time for us to do some top threes. Our cash game core first, I guess. Cash game core. So Green Key and Urquidy, I think we said.
Yeah.
Who's the stud bat you think you want to get up in there?
I'm debating whether if we want to get either Xander or JD, and it's because if you look at the pricing on DK, Devers and Betts are more expensive than them, but Bogarts and Martinez are both a little bit below them, and that's the same thing on FanDuel. You have like Bogarts is like 3,700 on FanDuel,
right?
Compared to like 4,500 and everything else. So I like Xander, at least on FanDuel, as my stud tomorrow.
We'll go with Xander on FanDuel and JD on DraftKings because JD's 4,500 against a lefty. So I'm cool with that.
Less. Like that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. What about the value on FanDuel? Do you see anything?
Yeah. I like, let's see here. I want to go with Tim Beckham.
Hey, man, he had a home run today. He's been,
Slam. He had a slam today.
Oh, yeah. And he's one of those streaky guys, too, Real streaky. I'm going to go with, on DraftKings, I'm going to go with the player that Paulie hates the most, Jason Kipnis. Because he's 3,300. He's really, really cheap. Batting 3,300 against a righty. For now, we'll go with him. Hopefully tomorrow something better opens up that I'm just not seeing right now. Time for some top threes. Joey, who are your top three pitchers?
Top three pitchers tomorrow. Greinke, number 1. Number 2, Pineda. Number 3, Griffin Canning.
I'm going to go with Greinke as well. I will go with Pineda as well. And I will go with Urquidy, even though he's going to be massive chalk. Top three stacks.
Top three stacks tomorrow. Number 1, the Yankees. Number 2, the Red Sox. Number 3, this is going to be the tough one. Mm-hmm. Number 3, the Twins.
I mean, I have to go with the same ones, Yankees, Red Sox, Twins as of right now. Again, I think Seattle and some of these other teams, they may become a little more enticing to us. Maybe we're more tempted tomorrow, especially when we get a gauge for ownership. But for now, how do you not? Those three teams have just been awesome offensively. Dong Watch, Joey, who's going deep?
Xander, Bogarts.
I like it. I'll go with Devers.
All right, and I'm going to go with Francisco Lindor.
I like that. I'm going to go with Aaron Judge.
All right, and I'm going to go with Max Kepler.
I like that a lot. I will go with Eddie Rosario, and that will do it for the Wise Take DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the Wise Take Nation. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Joey, anything in closing for the nation before we get up out of here?
Did you see CK the Dodgers acquired Tyler White today in a trade?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. It was kind of like, okay.
They need a first baseman.
Yeah,
well,
good choice. I guess there was nobody else available, I guess.
They got him for nothing.
Yeah. That's at the end of the day. That's what it is. All right. For Patio Joe, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.